I was insecure.
I was indulgent.
I was impatient.
I was ashamed.
I was vengeful.
I was bitter.
I was cold.
I was deceitful.
I was empty.
My parents had immigrated from the Ukraine to America. They were under religious persecution and came for a better life here. And so I think from a heart to want to protect their kids, that I was sheltered from a lot. So within a year of graduating high school, I was a bridesmaid in 3 of my friends' weddings. And I just couldn't picture myself in their shoes. Having grown up seeing a lot of complicated relationships, I was really fearful to end up in the same way. I was scared of marriage and not being able to find the right person. I ended up going to Syracuse University. I couldn't fit in with people there, and I was very shy. One of my classmates from my psychology class invited me to study the Bible. After deepening my relationship with God and having Him change me, as I was able to step out on faith and go out to Moscow, Russia, and do a lot of things I never thought I could see myself doing before. And thanks to him, I now have an amazing husband and a beautiful baby girl. And now I'm confident, having come back to Syracuse and for 2 years now, and getting married, and now having a beautiful baby girl. I just see how much God has allowed me to change from this insecure, quiet, shy girl. I'm just so grateful I get to live out my purpose. I get to help other people deepen their relationship with God and become who they can be in God. And it's amazing.
When I was younger, I was made aware of my father's unfaithfulness towards my mom. As a result of learning about my father's unfaithfulness towards my mom, I began to indulge in many different types of behavior. I began to seek attention through having fits of rage. I also began to indulge in impurity to fill that void. It caused a lack of trust. It caused me to feel like, how could someone ever really love me? So in 2010, I met a young woman at Onondaga Community College, and during our conversation, somehow she invited me to a Bible study. And I went to this Bible study, and honestly, it changed my life. And through those Bible studies and through building relationships with women who were really honest and real about where they were at in their lives and how they got out of what they were involved in, it really helped me to seek God and to understand what God was calling me to do, which was really to learn more about His Word and apply it to my life. Now I know that I can strive to be disciplined and self-controlled, and I know that I can have a victorious life. I know that even now as I'm engaged, that my marriage will be on a firm foundation because of my relationship with God and because of the impact that these women had in my life. As well as the amazing support system that I have right now.
I grew up in a Christian home, and I was protected from things that some kids aren't protected from. When I was younger, about 5, my parents adopted a young boy, Jack, my little brother, and from that relationship, I learned that I was very impatient, especially with him. One example is his noises. He currently makes these noises, but it's repetitive and it's very annoying. In one of our stupid sibling arguments, I said something that I regret. He was going on about whatever, and I said that he was a mistake. I regret calling him that because I know it really hurt him.
Okay, what time did you clean off?
No, we don't. They want to see reality. This is reality. This is reality. Put it down. We don't need it. We can live 5 minutes without it.
Mine.
And then I studied the Bible. And then I learned one of my purposes is to be an example for him when he studies the Bible and gets baptized.
I grew up in a strict household and went to church every Sunday and grew up with that kind of background. I went to a Christian college after high school, and soon after getting to college, I had this freedom, what I thought was freedom, but I started to rebel against all the rules that had been, kind of like in my life. And I went into smoking and drinking heavily and partying and going out to clubs and just having this lifestyle of this cycle of looking for the next thrill. But my grades, of course, suffered because you can't have that lifestyle and do well in school. So I was academically suspended because my GPA got so low. And during this time, I also got into trouble for stealing furniture from college. And so I think they were just like glad to get rid of me. But all of this kind of led to my realizing I needed God, and I started to seek God again. And God heard me and led me to a Bible study group of women who helped to teach me the Bible and helped to just show me, how to be free from that, from my sin and my destructive lifestyle. And so I was baptized, and now I am free.
When I was a kid, I felt like I had to defend myself all the time because I grew up in a household where I was the smallest or the youngest. I always felt like people got over on me or did things to me and I was defenseless. And so I figured like, okay, I'm not as big as they are or as tall as they are, but I'm smarter than them. And so I would just be vengeful. And it went on for a long time. I mean, people were afraid of my retaliation. Like if they do something, I'd always get them back. It may not be in the moment, but I would always get them back. Boyfriends, best friends, whoever, anybody who got in my way, I would get them back. Did you see Crystal enough right after school?
No, I'm just saying. Lamar said she's gonna fight Genesee on the bus. So you probably.
Why would she want to fight Genesee?
Genesee because she.
Who is Genesee? And I spent a lot of time being enraged. My sister was murdered in 1992 by her boyfriend, and I was enraged, and I wanted nothing but evil things for him, and I wished those things on him. Wear good shoes because y'all always want to fight, and I gotta break up stuff. How am I supposed to do?
Don't break it up and tell them that you're not about to break it up.
So next time when you fighting somebody, I can't break it up?
No, just let me fight.
Let you finish it? My students, they go through so much at home, at school, with their peers, and they have a lot of unsettledness inside them, just a lot of rage, a lot of sadness, a lot of confusion. Average, how many fights would you say is in here a day?
Maybe like,
one.
I think
A lot.
maybe like 5.
5 to 10 fights. But then I met a group of people who asked me if I wanted to study the Bible, and studying the Bible changed my life. It helped me to understand that vengeance, is not for me. It's my job to love people, not to hurt them. And that really changed the trajectory of how I think and how I motivate others. And I'm just really grateful for that.
2 days before Christmas in 1989, my sister, her husband, and their 2 children were found murdered in their home. Due to this family tragedy, I became very bitter towards God, and I would watch people praying for my family and just think that it was futile. I didn't believe in prayer any longer. In the next few years after that, I immersed myself, keeping very busy with work and with my family, and that all looked good on the outside, but meantime, in the inside, I was using eating disordered behaviors and drinking and medication, anything I could to try to numb the pain. And then in 1996, a wonderful woman invited me to church, and while I visited, the first message I heard was about prayer. And just hearing about how much God cares about us and cares to hear about our prayers to Him, suddenly this weight that I didn't even realize I was carrying was physically lifted from my shoulders, and I burst into tears. Everybody came running over to me asking what was the matter, and I told them for the first time in many years something was finally right again. And then I continued to study the Bible and was baptized in May of 1996. And then over the next few years, with the help of God and with the help of many disciples, I was able to overcome the use of alcohol and eating disordered behaviors and all these things that I before felt I needed to use to help me through things. And with that, I was able to just be free again, to be totally myself in front of people. And because of this, now I feel that I've been transformed.
There was a lot of verbal abuse in my household. I'm sorry. Because of that, it's like a part of me wanted to be close to people, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I didn't know how to let people in. So the only thing I knew was to be cold. And so showing vulnerability was not a thing for me. And my coldness came out in cursing, outbursts, angry outbursts. And I remember in college, I was just so done that in my dorms, I went all the way to the top of the building. I'm sorry. Because I didn't like who I was becoming and who I was in general. The young lady who worked in the graphic design department came down, and she shared her faith with me and invited me out to a women's midweek service. And at that point, I was like, I have nothing else to lose. I'm literally at rock bottom. And the following day, we studied the Bible, and I was just blown away by what I saw in the scriptures about the fact that God wanted a relationship with me. But also, I was very moved by the love that these women had shown me, and they've only known me for a couple of hours. They invited me into their home, they cooked for me, and I just was amazed how loving these women were. And I wasn't used to it. It was very awkward for me at first, but I knew that this is the way it should be, and I knew that if I can learn how to love and be warm, that it'll be from these women. And so I studied the Bible. I was so encouraged and blown away. I studied every day, and I was just thirsty to know more. And I didn't realize until that point how many people I hurt because of my cold-heartedness, because of my lack of love, from family to friends, and I'm just really grateful.
I think that I was born a liar. I used to lie to friends, family, boyfriends, whatever I needed to do to make myself look better. If my parents told me the rules and I didn't like them, I used to lie to them, to the point where it really damaged my relationship with my mom. I used to use all kinds of things to dull the pain of my deceitfulness and who I was inside. I grew up using alcohol, drugs, tobacco, anything I could, because the deceit I felt inside was overpowering, and to make me feel better, I used all of those things. I never thought I was pretty enough, good enough, rich enough, and so I used all of these things to try to make myself feel better, because not only did I deceive others, I deceived myself. So at the age of 28, I met a group of women that asked me to study the Bible, and that day changed the rest of my life. I knew what God had in store for me. I knew that God loved me the way that I am. I just needed to change the deceit in my life. And it's not something that goes away. I mean, I still deal with that on a daily basis. But I know what God says about living this way, and when not being truthful is and means. I also have my husband of 28 years who helps me, and so I have help from friends and family and of course God to get me through these times.
When I was really young, I longed for a relationship with my father. It was sort of like an inexplicable longing for him to be in my life. So what I did was try to fill that void that was in my heart with relationships with men, relationships with my friends, unhealthy attachments actually. So my senior year, I applied to schools, and my top school was NYU. I really wanted to get in, and when I got in, I felt like, yes, this is it. Like, I was just so excited. And so when I finally got there, though, the reality hit. And I realized that it wasn't it. But what God was doing was guiding me, and He allowed me to meet people who actually loved Him on that campus, like of all places, right? At college, I met people who really loved God, and they offered to study the Bible with me. And in studying the Bible, I gained an intellectual understanding of what it means to have a relationship with God. But sadly, my heart, it took a long time for my heart to connect to the reality that God wanted me to see. He was my father, and He is my father. And it took about 4 years, and even then, after understanding what it means to have a relationship with God, I tried to fill the void again by applying to another prestigious school, Columbia, trying to get my approval from having a quality higher education. And He helped me to see that He'd been there all along, and I can't keep trying to fill the void in this cycle, because everything that I try to fill the void with that's not Him won't do it. And so that's when I finally just was like, okay, I don't really know what you're doing. I still don't understand all that you're doing. But what I do feel and experience now is the fulfillment in knowing that God has given me the chance to acknowledge Him as my true Father, my Heavenly Father. And He's been there all along, wanting for me to see Him just as He's seen me.
I am confidence.
I I am disciplined.
I am an example.
I am free.
I am at peace.
I am transformed.
I am loving.
I am real.